Another week into free agency, and pretty much the exact same Packers team still stands. But there were some moves today that we could talk about, and some moves that maybe are coming on the horizon, hopefully. Same cast back again this week: Luke, Trevor, Janet, and myself. How is everyone doing this Wednesday evening?
I think I'm doing better than you guys are after the news that broke yesterday.
Yeah, I suppose we could probably start with that one. There's been maybe I'm just negative. There's been more positivity coming out of this move announcement than I thought. And we're talking about Kevin King getting signed 1 year, $6 million. We don't know the details yet. I would assume and hope it would be $2 million or less against the cap. I can't imagine he would warrant anything more than that. Luke, I'll let you go first since you're the Kevin King fan. Only one I know of, actually. It's pretty impressive. But you can, I would like to know why you think this is a good signing. Please convince me that this was a good move.
I like the move. Obviously, I'm very biased because Kevin King is one of my favorite football players right now. And that's more of a personal connection with him. But I like it. Bringing him back. I feel, if it's only $2 million against the cap hit, then I mean, what's the use in not bringing him back? I don't know if you're going to get much better outside of free agency. With just looking who's on the board right now, there's veterans, slow veterans here and there. But I think even bringing back Kevin King, we need to grab a rookie in the draft, maybe second round, third round, get a little competition going. But the guy he's played with the Packers. He knows the team, and I feel like Joe Barry's blitzing style is can leave Kevin King, open for interceptions, get the ball in his hands, have him make some plays.
So you think the Joe Barry connection with him is what's going to bring it out?
Yep.
Like, is it kind of like two wrongs make a right?
The words I was about to say was those exactly.
Okay, maybe. Hey, it's a saying for a reason. I don't know.
But
it's possible.
But here's what I think that the Packers should have done last year more of is with Jair Alexander being such a lockdown, he can take down one side of the field. And Adrian Amos is almost like, I've talked about before, almost like a hybrid linebacker. He's very good in run support. He can come off the edge. They should just have Darnell Savage just shade Kevin King's side. That's what they should have did last year, and I didn't see a lot of that.
I mean, you're right. They for sure should have done that. But that's to the point that I don't know. He's not starter caliber. In the Joe Barry system, it's going to be that we need to have lockdown man-to-man corners just because of the pressures that are going to come, the responsibilities of where the safeties have to go. So if Kevin King, and by the way, if Kevin King stays healthy, maybe he is fine. I think the health just alone makes this a bad signing. But if he stays healthy and he performs well and can lock down that side, then great. What's going on? He just hasn't done that once since high school. He was fine in college. He wasn't amazing in college. He bragged about being a man-to-man corner that kept blowing coverages. It's been the same thing. Oh, I don't know. Trevor, Janet, what's your thoughts about this? I do have one positive that maybe could be about the decision if the Packers change his position a little bit. But I'd like to know your guys' thoughts. Trevor's shaking his head. Why don't you go first?
It's just, this makes no sense. And to the fans that like it, I don't understand. There are two sides to Kevin King fans, or people that are happy with it. The side that is arrogant and is like, oh, look at all these people that think they know football and throws out some stats that are meaningless because they're the only ones that support Kevin King being decent at all. And the other side is like, oh, well, you know what? We won 13 games and we won the division. That's a great season. If you're the Browns, yeah, that you're right, but it's a participation trophy here. If you're at this level, you're here to win a damn Super Bowl and nothing else. And it's just absurd to me how all these Packer fans go, yay, 13 wins is okay. They had a great season. Yet you look at fans of any other sport, Bucks, Brewers, in the same damn state, any other team, and they're on them and on them. But for some reason, whenever it comes to the Packers and doing things like this, Kevin King, doing things where the team isn't getting better, they're just the same at most. Everybody's suddenly okay with it, and I don't understand. It's frustrating. And you look at Kevin King and $6 million. I mean, holy shit, he better have a lot of incentives because Desmond King, better than him, he made 3. So, you know, I oddly enough, the thing I'm most mad at is the fans that think he's good and think we can all just sit in a circle singing "Kumbaya." That's not how the shit works. We got 2 years left, and I don't know how you say we haven't already blown it. No free agents, same team as last year. Every other team has gotten better. I just can the season outside the NFC North.
You harassed me so much for saying almost word for word that last week.
That is true, but when Kevin King happens, things change. Things change drastically. I was on the brink of tears, literally, because it was just like, you know what? We just wasted another career. Hats off. So yeah, I'm on your side now, Zach. I'm on your side.
There's a few things I want to unpack there, but Jana, what's your overall thoughts about this? And Luke can defend Kevin King afterwards too. Before there's just a few things I want to go over.
I'm not very happy with it. I'm just not. Everybody's like, well, you kind of want to bring him back because he was already on the team and he knows everything. But I was really rooting towards Casey Hayward, just because if you want somebody who was already on the team, why not get him? But no, I don't know. I really didn't like it. I would have preferred something else, but. And like Trevor said, like all these fans saying like we got to trust the front office, they know what they're doing. I just don't know anymore. They're giving me anxiety.
Yeah,
it was not. I did not favor it, but it is what it is at this point.
Luke, do you want to fight back for some of the things they said?
Not yet. I want to hear what you have to say.
What I really wanted to touch on, and it's related to but separate from the Kevin King thing, talking about the fans who are supporting this and people, not necessarily fans of the Packers, but people pushing back at the angry Packer fans, saying like, hey, Packers made the NFC Championship 2 years in a row. Packers win this X many games every single year. What kind of argument are you going to manufacture to be angry about this offseason? And again, the people saying that are the exact same people who said the Packers weren't any good 2 years ago. They were phony because they played an easy schedule. So either the Packers played an easy schedule and we got all of these wins, which is true, or like there's something wrong. Like the Packers keep getting all of these wins because we play in the NFC North. We play the Bears. We play the Vikings. We play the Lions. 2 years ago, 2019, 2020, we played the NFC East. That's why the defense looked good. That's why we got all these wins. This year, we played a bunch of easy non-conference games again. Like, just because one team wins games doesn't mean they should roll it back with the exact same team. And again, talking about the front office, like I was questionable about what they said in that presser that we first talked about, I think show 1, about Gutekunst saying, we're going all in this offseason. And again, we need to go back to that because apparently going all in this offseason is running it back with the exact same guys, except for we lost a couple. Like we haven't done anything. We haven't made the team better for sure. Like for sure we didn't get better because all we did is lose people, except for we signed a fucking long snapper so he can compete with our current long snapper. That's the only thing that's different, except for we also don't have the all-pro center and we don't have Jamal Williams, who is a great pass-catching running back. It's just really frustrating. What were you going to say about Kevin King? I do have something maybe positive, even though I know for the fact the Packers won't do this. But you got it.
Zach, I agree with you on that. The team is not any different than last year, other than guys we lost instead of guys we brought in.
Right.
As far as Kevin King goes, I think it does bring a little insurance to the cornerback position, like I said before. Kevin King's obviously not, prime Darrelle Revis. He's not Jair Alexander. He's not even Xavier Rhodes right now, whatever. But he is a guy who's played with the Packers before. It's still obvious that they need to draft a cornerback. This way, the cornerback that they draft doesn't have to play 16 games right away. They have a spot that can be filled. And if Kevin King's good, then perfect. We have a good corner. If he's not good, then we can see what this rookie's going to do. But I don't. The way that I think that they need to use him is they need to use his physical attributes to his advantage. He's a 6'3", 10-pound guy. Why not just jam everyone at the line of scrimmage, all the outside receivers? And they had him last year playing 4, 5, 6 yards off of him, and that's why he got burned deep every time. They're not using his physical skill set, and that's what I think the problem was.
And one thing I did want to touch on, actually, one of the things I was going to go into was his physical gifts. Really, I have it. At least I did have it up. His combine stuff, yeah. So Kevin King is literally the prototypical corner that you would want, right? And I don't think anyone can argue that. 6'3", 200 pounds, 32-inch length arms. This is coming out of college. He's in the 84th percentile for 40-yard dash, 95th for speed, 88th for burst, 100th. So he is one of one essentially for agility, catch radius 99th. So that is like legend status athletic gifts. On the field, he looks slow. He's not agile in the slightest. And for sure, injuries have played a part. There's zero doubt. But he's not fast. He gets burnt every fucking time that he doesn't jam somebody. To your point, he should jam, but he gets burnt every single time. So the one thing I think he had going for him was his athletic gifts, and I don't think those are there anymore. And is it because, yes, he's dealing with injuries? Can he bounce back? But even if he does bounce back, does anybody on the planet, including his mom, have any sort of confidence that he's going to stay healthy? Because you can just look at last year. Like, I have it right here as well. Week 4, quad injury. Week 10, Achilles injury. Postseason, back injury. Everything's completely different, and it prevents him from running. It's so stupid. And I can't justify saying, hey, I know you had a terrible start to your career. Let's bring you back. And, oh, by the way, we'll pay you money. Please just stay healthy, because if you don't stay healthy, we have zero backup plan, as shown by last year. Because we just backed ourselves against the wall again. I'm just really sick of all this bullshit.
Well, a couple things there too. You said all in. Okay, well, if you're going to sign Kevin King, that means you're moving up in the draft. If this is your free agency, because that's not all in. I doubt they're going to do that. And you talk about Kevin King staying healthy. I don't think even his mom trusts him because she's not blind. It's just... It doesn't make any sense. And, it's just all in. If this is what all in is, I think we really have to question what the front office is doing, because this is not Ted Thompson anymore, right? Ted Thompson was not the greatest of all time, but he did not miss in as many drafts in his career as Gutekunst has already, arguably. This is not him. You're not going to find gems in the 6th or the 7th. This is him. This is Gutekunst. He's not going to win you drafts. So unless you're trading up, Kevin King's going to be your number 2 the whole season. And, we're assuming the Packers aren't going to be stupid and trade down again. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
Trevor, we traded up last year to a quarterback first round.
I was going to say, we traded up bullseye, baby. Sniped him.
Just throw it out the mind. Just throw it out the mind. Just such a stupid-ass decision. But we're all in, guys. We're all in.
I think the Packers' biggest issue, and it's not new, like it was before the Ted Thompson era, I think we have too much arrogance in our ability to scout players. I think we believe that we know who the exact best players are, and we miss. Obviously, most teams miss more often than not, but we miss on the ones that we go, quote unquote, all in on. The ones that have the high value first round picks, second round picks, they often really fall flat. The guys that we go out to pay. Hey, look, the Smith brothers. In my personal opinion, we missed on both of them. I don't know. I feel like we haven't had a super good move since Charles Woodson. I think you could probably argue some other ones more recent, but I can't think of them off the top of my head, and I don't want to because it doesn't fit my argument right now. But still, if we put more of a value on going all in, like we say, and going after proven talent and going after talent that can compete now, we wouldn't be in this mess. And again, arrogance in our own scouting. That's why we have re-signed players. The only outside free agent we signed, like I said, is that long snapper who, by the way, hasn't snapped in 5 years. The last time he snapped was in college, and he hasn't made an NFL team since. So super glad he's in. But yeah, I was going to say, I'll say something positive about Kevin King, then we can get off Kevin King. Again, I don't think this is going to happen, but talking about those physical gifts, again, big guy, unbelievably fast when healthy. I haven't seen it in the pros, but maybe he comes back when he's healthy. Is there a chance he could thrive in the slot as a nickel corner? Because he's so big, he could cover those tight ends. He's quick enough, long enough, he could get his hands up, disrupt some of those inside throws, the slants, really quick routes. If he was good enough and staying healthy enough and those physical tools come back, maybe he's the nickel corner the Packers need. Again, I don't think they're going to do that, but I think it's interesting to think about.
I think it makes sense because, the reason they drafted Kevin King was getting burned for 200 yards by Julio Jones in the playoffs. They drafted Kevin King specifically to stop Julio Jones. You're going to get more Julio Joneses in the slot and tight end. So it does make sense.
Especially when you look at the way the NFL's going at the tight end position. I mean, you can look at, someone tweeted a list out of the last tight ends to start in the Super Bowl. And obviously it's dominated by Gronkowski and Travis Kelce and players like that. But like the really, really good teams do have those elite athletic tight ends. And you would think the hyper athletic large corner would be built to stop them, not a small safety, and certainly no linebacker the Packers had on their roster for the past 2 decades. So, yeah.
Another important thing is Shannon Sullivan. I think people don't talk about because, if he can play well, Kevin King is going to be able to play well. Sullivan had a 35% completion percentage when thrown at 2 years ago, but last year was 68. If Kevin King has support on both sides, I do not like him. He's a good third option for sure, and I think his play will rise with those guys.
But he wouldn't be a third. He's still on an island on the outside. Like 2 years ago when he was super elite, not elite, when Shannon Sullivan was good, and I think he was pretty good this year still anyway. He just had bad moments in big games. But Kevin King had a worse 2019 than 2020 by far. He was arguably the worst cornerback in the entire league 2 years ago. And that's when, arguably Sullivan was good in limited snaps. Here's one thing I do want to pitch because I don't want to necessarily throw Packers reporters under the bus, but there are some really stupid ones. There's some people that are saying the Kevin King signing doesn't necessarily mean the Packers aren't going to sign another one of these big free agents. I guess you guys can for sure argue with me. My personal feeling is you don't bring Kevin King back unless your plan is to start him. And it's not even the contract. It's not anything else. It's just you don't return a starter if they're not going to be the starter, especially someone of that age and like that. But do you guys think we could still pursue Casey Hayward, Bouye, players like that?
I mean, maybe they have the thing. Maybe Zach are ahead of them on here that they want to move Kevin King to that nickel corner and they're going to go after AJ Bouye here. But otherwise, no. I mean, you have 2 young corners right now. I don't think it makes sense to spend a bunch of money on another, big veteran guy when the draft is in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it is, where you're just going to grab a guy in the second round.
Right. the one person who I'll single him out. I don't care. I don't like him. Peter Bukowski, Packers reporter for Sports Illustrated, SB Nation. Sorry, SB Nation. I like you, Sports Illustrated. He's the one saying the Packers are still going to go after Malcolm Butler, Boye. If we go after Butler, by the way, Kevin King, except for smaller, he is terrible. But Casey Hayward, Steven Nelson, Packers could still go after them. He doesn't think that it would ruin the potential pursuit of these guys. Obviously, he got in a little bit of a Twitter fight with Zach Cruz, another Packers reporter, who says, of course, that means they're not going to go after him. But, like, I don't know, man. Like, I know what Trevor and Janet are going to say, probably. Luke, going into the draft, let's say we don't sign up one of these corners, because I can't imagine we do. Going into the draft, what do you think the Packers' biggest position need is?
I mean, I always think it's offensive line. I think right now you need to look at the center who's most ready to get to who's most pro ready. Maybe that's not a first round pick, but I think offensive line depth is never a bad thing. But I've been saying, I've said it on the show many times. I've been saying it since AJ Hawk left. It's linebacker. You need a fast linebacker to play in this league. And the Packers had that. I don't even know if you could call AJ Hawk a fast linebacker for how many years now. I still think it's linebacker.
Okay. Trevor, Janet, do you have a different position, or are you also thinking linebacker is still the top, or is the top priority for the Packers?
Janet, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I would say probably defense. I'm going to say defense. Anybody, just because I feel like we haven't, I don't know, honestly, like, I'm so lost. I'm going to be really honest. I mean, I feel like most fans are. Like, we signed a long snapper who, when I went and was looking for information on this guy, NBC Sports under drafted said no answer. So I have no idea what their next move is, but all I know is that we need to pick up on this defense. Like, my notes are all over the place. Yeah, I feel so lost right now, honestly, about all of this, because I don't know what our next move is. I think that we're gonna do something, and then we do something like sign Joe Fortunado off the Cowboys. I don't know.
Yeah, it's great, Janet, because right now you probably know even more than Gutekunst, because I don't think anybody there knows what the hell they're doing. For the draft, I think you kind of take a hybrid of kind of a Ted Thompson approach. You take the best available, but the best available at what you need. So just because there's Trevor Lawrence drops to you, which won't happen, don't take him. But if you have,
we need a backup.
Yeah, a third stringer, just in case Love gets hurt, practice throwing. But if you have an offensive lineman and a linebacker that you like, but a cornerback drops, take the cornerback. Take the best available that you need. I don't think there really needs to be a specific way to go about it. But from the past, if I'm the Packers, I wait on the offensive line, because I've said this before. It seems like they miss so many damn times in the first round. It's not even funny, or even the second round. So I'd lean, defense. There are going to be guys who dropped. Patrick Queen dropped last year. He hasn't been great, but, he dropped a lot. Somebody's going to drop, and I think if they're at a need position, which they likely are, you got to snag them up within the first 10 seconds. Don't try to play it cute.
So I got different answers than I thought I was going to get from you guys. I personally still think the biggest need on the team is cornerback. And that's my biggest issue with signing Kevin King. I don't think that solved anything. I hope he proves me wrong. And by the way, saying our biggest need is cornerback doesn't necessarily mean we need to draft it first round. But I do think that's the biggest weakness of importance on the team. I do think we should probably go offensive line first round, just because of the people who are there in the second. Not that we will. I hope we don't go wide receiver. I just don't think wide receiver is a need. I really don't. Got into fight with somebody with that again today as well, which we can transition to. Does anybody have anything else to say about position needs, Kevin King,
Yeah.
etc.?
Go ahead, Trevor.
Don't need a wide receiver when you got a better version of Curtis Samuel and Devin Funchess. Don't need one.
They're so different, but okay.
You guys think that they might target a quarterback late round?
I think they will. Yeah, I do. That's not good, but yes. I'm so angry. Yes,
So they're going to take Hornibrook.
Oh God, is he even trying to go to the draft?
I don't know. I knew he was at one time. Who knows? He
So
might
bad.
throw his name back in there again.
Got chased out of Wisconsin because he slept with the middle linebacker's girlfriend.
I heard it was offensive line.
Yeah.
That's probably why they didn't block for him.
I know for a fact he did the middle linebacker because the middle linebacker was going to kill him and he got out of town. But yeah, I honestly think for the rest of the Packers free agency, and we can talk about free agency in a second, free agency draft, I don't think it's even worth taking defense anymore. I think the defense is going to be what it is at this point, that we just need to get the greatest offense of all time and score 80. I just don't think, like, our defense is going to be what it is. We're going to create turnovers. It's going to be opportunistic, and then we're going to let off 80-yard bombs. That, as is the Joe Barry way.
It's fun, Zach. Exciting.
Hey, high-score games.
Every game. Bet the over.
We're going to be playing some Big 12 football here.
You think Andy Dalton's going to have a bad year for Chicago? Buckle up, because not against Green Bay.
With Jared Goff in the division, I'll finally prove you guys wrong that he's actually a good quarterback against Packers defense.
No, you won't.
He might. He doesn't have anyone to throw to yet, but you never know. He's got Hawkinson. That might be all he needs.
And Jamal Williams.
True. Very true. Let's go to, like we said, Packers signed long snapper Fortunato, hasn't snaps in 2017 at Delaware. Tried out for Cowboys and one other team. Didn't make it. The Colts. So I'm sure Coach Mo knows him from that time. So now the Packers have 2 kickers, 2 long snappers, 2 punters, which is fine. I don't think that's a big deal. They just want to create competition in camp, which is fine. The other signing today, again, it's an internal signing, one that is surprising, but I think is good. Packers re-signed Mercedes Lewis to a 2-year deal worth $8 million. I believe it was $4 million guaranteed, 2.4 or 2.3 this year. I'm surprised. I don't know about you guys. I'm surprised he got that much money, and I'm surprised it's 2 years with the equal amount of guarantee both years. I don't think it's a bad signing. I'm just shocked that he had that kind of market for a 37-year-old. You know what I mean?
Maybe he didn't have that market, and Gutekunst is just pulling another Gutekunst and giving him.
That's my thought.
I mean,
that is
Kevin King didn't have a market. He still got $6 million. At least not that high of a market. I'm sure somebody would have signed him for $2 million, but
the Bears were talking to him, and the Cowboys didn't want him to go to another NFC contender. Clearly,
we should have paid them to take him.
Kevin King should have paid to come back on the team. But with the Mercedes Lewis signing, so the Packers return the exact same tight end room. Again, people are excited about it. I think it's good. Tunyon, obviously, great to come back. I do not think Sternberger belongs in the NFL at this point, but he's going to be back. He still has high potential. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else we need to re-sign. I think we should start looking elsewhere. Before we talk about free agents, the only other thing the Packers kind of did, I guess, there's news coming out about that the Packers are trying to restructure Aaron Rodgers' contract and that's the reason supposedly that they haven't been so active in free agency, which is unbelievably ridiculous if that's the truth. And oh, by the way, Packers waited too long, so now Rodgers got a $6.8 million cap bonus or roster bonus already paid out. That's not something that the Packers would have had to talk to him about to restructure. That's something that the teams can do without the player. So the Packers could have saved $4.5 million on the cap this year just by moving it. And if the idea was to restructure his contract anyways, you could have just paid him that money later down the road. So I don't understand. Well, I know this is the case because Gutekunst doesn't know how to do his job. And that's not me being mean. It's just the honest thing. But we could have had $4.5 million to play with this year, which could have covered Kevin King plus Tunyon, right? Assuming that what Kevin King's base salary is, and there's zero chance he's going to earn any incentives. So his contract's probably like 1.1. I don't know. Does anyone have any thoughts about why we didn't do that with Aaron Rodgers' contract? I just don't know what's going on.
Zach, that seems to become the new motto of the show. Lombardi sweep. I don't know what's going on.
They're doing it for the future. It's not even for this year's free agency. It's for the future. Like everything that they say is that they're trying to prepare for the future, and I feel like it's just a snowball effect, and it just keeps catching up with us, and now we're in the same mess that we were in last year, the year before, and the year before that.
Does anybody watch The Office here?
Yep.
Do you remember the episode where Michael Scott, everybody was mad at the board, and so he said they're booing him, and he's like, "We're gonna come back with a plan."
yeah.
And everybody started cheering, and then I get to the back, and he's like, "Yeah, what's our plan?" That's what Gutekunst has been doing his entire career in Green Bay. He very obviously has no clue what he's doing, and the one good thing though is that we're seeing consistency in not complete nepotism, but a decent amount. Defense coordinator got in, doesn't know what he's doing. Front office, Gutekunst, he doesn't know what he's doing. Granted, that's not word for word what nepotism is, but at least we're getting consistent with guys not really knowing the inner workings of football or contracts. It's nice to have some consistency once in a while.
Yeah, it's just I understand bad decisions. Like you swing, you miss, fine. Just pushing Rodgers' money to clear up $4.5 million, it's just an obvious thing. It doesn't make sense. The only way it could make sense is if you were going to cut him post June 1st or something, which I hope we don't do. Or if you were wanting to trade him, because it would have cost more money if we were going to trade him after this year. So the only reason to not push that money down the road is if the plan is to trade him, which is concerning, but I am very for that at this point, just because I know there's zero chance we can win a Super Bowl, right? There's just very few teams that are built that are capable of winning the Super Bowl. And the honest truth is the Packers aren't. There's a lot of changes that need to be made. We could make them. I don't think we will make them. And now with this Aaron Rodgers contract dispute, which he wants security, rightfully so, paid security for 3-4 years down the road. The only reason that report's coming out is because the Aaron Rodgers camp is putting it out. And that would be because the Packers organization doesn't want to give him that money. So for sure this contract restructure is going to be very telling about what the Packers want to do with Rodgers. But I think the reports are already telling, and the moves or lack thereof is already telling, that Packers fans should be preparing for 2022 Jordan Love or whoever else is going to be the quarterback. I think Aaron Rodgers is done, to be completely honest. Am I looking into it too much, you guys think?
I question why Aaron Rodgers wants security. Like on the face, it's obvious, why I'm sorry, why the hell would you want to stay in Green Bay? Since you won Super Bowl 45, they have done nothing but cut and or just leave the defense as is. They've given you weapons, but it's been the same thing. I think Rodgers has lost in 3 of the top 10 worst defensive playoff performances of all time. They don't care. So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, there's going to be a market for you. I'm confused why he wants security, because go win a chip. Like, I don't think any of us would be mad if he left after 2 years. So, go to a contender. I mean, the Packers aren't going to change. So why he wants the security, it doesn't make sense to me.
Right. And again, with the assumed planning to trade him, it again goes back to the point of, I think the Packers are being, overconfident in their scouting because they think Jordan Love is the guy, right? Not only did we draft him to be the guy, not only was it a first-round draft pick, it was a first and a fourth round because we moved up to snipe him over an imaginary team that didn't want him. We think he's going to be the guy. We think this year he's going to develop into the guy, and I think that has to be the plan. We do have a comment here with Noah Byer. He wants to know our thoughts on the Aaron Jones signing. We did touch on it last week, but I think we should touch on it again. Personally, I was on a roller coaster of emotions, as you guys witnessed. I don't think Aaron Jones is very good. I think he's very limited in his skill set. In the contract at face value looks terrible. However, he gets paid like a cap hit base hit of $1 million in the first 2 years, and it's going to be a 2-year deal no matter what. So personally, I'm okay with the deal. I just think it was a waste of money because it's a redundant move with A.J. Dillon, and they serve this exact same role. But what's your guys' thoughts on it?
It is, and I think, Zach, I think the same as you. I just think it was dumb to sign the running back over the guy who blocks for the running back.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think them all too. We've talked about this. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones are the same player. Aaron Jones' pass catching ability, not horrible, right? He's not bad. He's decent. Nowhere near Jamal Williams. Pass blocking, he's got work to do. So you got 2 of the same backs. I mean, doesn't really make sense. I'm sure you could have got just as good of a deal, if not way better, for Jamal Williams, even salary cap hit wise. So, and you also don't get to hear Jamal Williams in interviews and in the locker room and see him dancing. So, what's the price of losing that? Who knows?
Janet, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I was happy that he was signed, but at the same time, I would have preferred Jamal Williams just because of his versatility, and I think he was a lot more durable when it came to injuries. I mean, he was always there. I feel like I never heard anything about him not playing for an injury, so I think I would have preferred Jamal.
Yeah, the only time I remember him being hit or hurt is when he got cheap shotted in the face. That one time his head was basically taken off, which, that's not an injury. That's you can't fault him for that. I think we should use this as a good segue into possible free agents the Packers could legitimately sign at this point now to cover some needs, because I was really looking at players today and looking at the team and what we need. And there's one player nobody, at least I know, is talking about. For sure, nobody would think of to come to Green Bay. And I think, not that it fixes the team by any means, but I think it's an interesting addition. And that would be signing Le'Veon Bell to the backfield. I think that would be an unbelievable pick because Le'Veon Bell has shown the ability to find running lanes when running lanes are created, which wasn't the case in New York or Kansas City. And the Packers, all they do is create running lanes. Like Aaron Jones could sit back there all day and find an open running lane. That's why he was good. And he's good in open space. And then, oh, by the way, I mean, Le'Veon Bell can pass protect. Le'Veon Bell is an unbelievable receiver who can move to the slot, can move to pretty much anywhere. And he's a cheap guy, and he for sure wants a prove-it deal. Like, he needs to make more money. He wants to make more money. He wants to win a chip. These are all of his motivations. And I think it would be very, very easy to sign him to a 1-year cheap deal. What's your guys' thoughts on that? Because I know that's going to be polarizing for some to hear.
I think Le'Veon Bell kind of fell into that area where, he had a great year with Pittsburgh, and then he went for the money or went for whatever reason to the Jets. And you saw what happens when good players go to bad teams. It doesn't work out. And I think that the Chiefs had the opportunity to use him a lot more than they did last year, especially in the playoffs. I thought he fit that offense perfect. But yeah, I'm all on Le'Veon Bell. I think he's proved. He used to be maybe the best running back in the league. He's probably not that caliber anymore, but he's still got the talent. He's played in the NFL for how long now? I don't think it hurts to bring him in at all. I think you're only going to get upside if you bring Le'Veon Bell into the backfield.
And he would be a third down guy, right? Like, he's not an every down guy for sure.
Right.
But I don't know. Trevor, what's your thoughts on that? I know it's not a big need, but I think it does fill a role.
I think the idea is good. But I first of all, I don't think it's going to happen. Granted, that's not what you asked, but I don't know. I feel like this is a scenario where the Packers get him and then they just don't utilize him. Kind of like a Tavon Austin. Like, we got him for punt returns, but we could have used him and we could have used Tyler Ervin so much in jet sweeps and motions, and we didn't. And Le'Veon Bell's a great player, but I think if he wants to prove it somewhere, for me, I think somebody's going to give him the same amount of money, similar opportunity to win. And, seeing how Green Bay is kind of turning into the Wisconsin for running backs, just anybody can run behind that line. I just feel like he'll look elsewhere personally. Just kind of a hunch.
That's fair. Janet, any thoughts?
I'm down. At this point, I feel like, why not pick up available experienced players to help win a Super Bowl this year instead of waiting to draft somebody? But I also saw this take on Good Morning Football that was saying, with such a low cap this year because of the pandemic and whatnot, why not just play in Green Bay for a year to play with Aaron Rodgers? And like they say, Aaron Rodgers can make any player look good. So get your stats up, get a lot of playing time, and get the ball in your hands and show everybody what you got. And then when the money starts coming in, after all this is over, go out and get your bag. So I kind of agreed in a way, and I think Le'Veon Bell would be one of those to come in and help us win a Super Bowl, and then go out, if he doesn't like it anymore, go out and get his bag somewhere else.
I think it's interesting how few of players have done the 1-year deals. I think there have been a decent amount, but you would have thought there would be more. Players are just sort of falling for teams' traps, I feel, because teams are able to give them long deals right now at a lower base and with zero, the voidable years thing. There's so many players falling for the voidable years. It's ridiculous. They can cut them with no loss, and it's for sure going to happen. There's no stability. Aaron Jones' contract is pretty shitty for him. He's for sure going to get cut after 2 years. There's just so many things that veteran players aren't doing. And I've heard that take, Janet, a lot for wide receivers, especially you're talking about, go catch passes from Aaron Rodgers, go for cheap. It makes sense. This is my pitch to cornerbacks. If we want to move Kevin King to the nickel and bring in a good outside corner, why wouldn't you sign a 1-year deal in Green Bay where you get to play against Andy Dalton, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff in 6 games? And, oh, by the way, you have a chance to win a Super Bowl. That's a dream fucking scenario. For a fact Joe Barry is going to be bringing pressure, and it's going to force some ducks flying in the air where you can pick them off. That's what Joe Barry's defense is designed to do, hoping to be opportunistic. This is a dream scenario for a good outside corner to stat pack for 1 year, compete for a championship, and then get the hell out of Green Bay like most people want to do once they get to Green Bay, just weather-wise and team-wise. The front office, obviously, in Green Bay is terrible. They ask you to take pay cuts. But if you just go there for 1 year and stat pack, I think this is a dream scenario here. I truly do.
Yeah, and I'm not, and we're not NFL players, and obviously it's a get rich quick league because you can't play till you're like 38 usually. We talked about this last time. It makes no sense. I mean, again, not only are these horrible deals, the salary cap's going to rise next year and probably pretty drastically. So why are you taking a deal at all, much less a bad deal? It makes no sense. I almost wonder if people saw the pandemic, saw the impact, and were like, I'm taking whatever I can get. Just weren't taking chances, because certainly you'd have some people be more aggressive than this, because it just seems like throw money at anybody, they'll take it.
Seems that way.
What did AJ Green, was he a 1 year?
I would assume so for his age. I can tell you 1 second. I was going to bring that point up, just the players that we could have signed if all we did was move Aaron Rodgers $4.5 million away. AJ Green, 1 year, $6 million.
Okay.
Fully guaranteed. But yeah, to that point again, if we want to do the buzzworthy thing and sign a wide receiver for no reason, which again, got in an argument with somebody today who thought the Mercedes Lewis was a bad signing because he hasn't caught 20, 30 passes, even though he's the best blocking tight end in the league. The Packers don't need a wide receiver, and for the people who think they do, they had the number one offense last year, and all they did is improve the wide receiver core with Devin Funchess coming in. Like, there's zero reason to think that's the biggest need. But there's a lot of fans and a lot of experts, quote-unquote experts, who do still believe that the Packers are desperately in need of a better number two wide receiver, and I don't think that's the case. But if we wanted to do just a wide receiver here, just from clearing Aaron Rodgers $4.5 million, we could have got John Brown and saved a little bit of extra money after that. Rashad Perriman, Rashad Higgins wouldn't have signed. John Ross, just to take, be a faster version of Jeff Janis, essentially. I don't know what Deshaun Jackson's deal is yet, but probably him as well. Josh Reynolds, same thing. I don't know how cheap it was, but probably him as well. Let's see who is still available. Tim Patrick will probably want more. Golden Tate for sure we could get for $4.5 million. There's no doubt in my mind. Or Daryl Patterson. That would be a great one.
What did Emmanuel Sanders go for? Do you remember?
I can tell you. More than that.
Okay.
6.
Okay.
But even still, like $4.5 million, so just $1.5 million extra. That's
right.
not bad. It's just, it makes no sense. Juju Smith-Schuster signed for 8. Keelan Cole signed for 5.5. Keelan Cole's an amazing slot receiver.
Emmanuel Sanders on the Bills now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what the hell happened to that? Oh, I don't want to play in cold weather bullshit. There's got to be a hot weather team that wanted him.
Did he say that?
Wasn't that why he picked the Saints over us?
At one point in your career,
I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah. Things change, but still, like, okay.
They have a chance to win. Packers don't. Sorry. I mean, that's what he's saying, and I don't disagree.
Hey, that's what Khalil Mack said, too.
Yes, he did. That one burns a little, but yes, he did. But also, Luke, you talked about getting a center, which Packers still need. They don't need a center. They probably should look for something. They could have got Alex Mack. He signed 3-year, $15 million. Alex Mack's an established veteran. I don't know why 49ers are signing him to a 3-year deal at 36 years old, but he's worth that money. And again, restructure Rodgers' deal, and that's essentially free for this season. There's just so many things you can do with $4.5 million during a pandemic. It's fantastic. but we didn't do it. So, oh well. Pick a position, any position that you think the Packers should sign for someone for. I'll find some people here.
I got some people right here for you on the D line.
Go for it.
Dean Lowry.
Shut the hell up, Luke. Get out of here.
Before you say anything, Trevor, Dean Lowry is almost definitely going to get cut post June. Like, it just seems like that's the case, and I think they saved like $5.8 million. You were almost in tears from the Kevin King signing. Where does that bring you back on the spectrum of not necessarily happy, but just being at ease with the Packers front office if they cut Dean Lowry? Not only cut him, but cut him after free agency when teams probably can't pay him. So it's an extra little stab in his back.
None at all. None at all.
Okay.
Because it's such an obvious decision. Kind of like saving $4.5 million on Aaron Rodgers' contract. It's so obvious. You're an idiot if you don't do it, and you should get no accolades for making the right call.
Wait, Trevor, I got one more for you. What if they re-sign him and he's staying with the Packers for 4 more years? How much more misery does that bring you?
If they re-sign him, I'm simply only going to watch half of the game. The half of the offense is on the field, because I don't need to see another fat, slow-ass Northwestern white boy doing absolutely nothing for $3 million a year. Don't need to see it. Do not need to see it. If I wanted to, I just watch Northwestern basketball or something. But back to the D-line. Just some names. This is just in the first 20 that are popping up. That could be cheap. Like we talked about, BJ Raji role, plug the middle. Geno Atkins, Kawan Short, Jarrell Casey, Carlos Dunlap. Well, Dunlap's an end. Danny Shelton, Bo Allen. Not all these guys are going to go for super cheap. But, I mean, again, just tell them, hey, just stand there and plug up the middle. You don't have to get sacks, and we will pay you to eat. Anybody. You got plenty of guys. It's not hard to plug the middle. Somehow, Dean Lowry can't even do that, but, beside the point.
You know what they should just start doing for just telling defensive linemen? Just fall down.
I was told that many times. I played nose tackle, and there's been there's games where I went up against a D1 recruit, and he's unbelievable. And literally my job was just to dive at his knee, basically try to dislocate his knee, but then make a pile every single play. And by the way, that fucking sucks. I hate it.
Yeah.
Y'all are gonna hate me. Y'all are gonna hate me, but I thought of okay, when I was younger and I used to watch Teletubbies, and they used to fall on top of each other and create a domino effect.
pretty. It's accurate. You're pretty much that.
The only difference is the Teletubbies are slimmer than the guys we have in the D line. So.
True. But yeah, there's definitely names there the Packers can get for cheap. I know you said some of them will go for more than that, but I don't know, man. There's cheap D tackle, especially interior defensive lineman signings that every single year, not just in a pandemic, every single year that can play a role. I still think Snacks Harrison can play a role. If he works with the team a little bit, and I would assume he would be incredibly cheap if he decides to come back,
I got a name, Luke, you like the good names. Defensive tackle, only 24 years old, out of Cincinnati, Reginald McKenzie. That is a defensive lineman name. That's a Super Bowl champion name.
That sounds like
it.
That sounds like 50 years from now, he's a grandpa going to be telling his kids about how he had to live through a pandemic, through a war, and got a handoff from the Packers and ended up being a Pro Bowler.
While you guys have been talking, I've been looking to see who the Packers are going to draft from Northwestern this year at the D-line, and I got a name. It's going to be a redshirt senior by the name of Joe Gaziano. Not a good grade, 5.47, so I think he's probably going to be in that 4th or 5th round range. Packers are going to reach for him. Would you like to know his strengths, Trevor?
Wait,
Here we
Joe
go.
Gaziano, I thought he was already drafted.
Is he? Him I 1 year off.
Yeah, I got here. He's a defensive end for the Chargers. Get his ass
Damn
out
it.
of here. Ha.
We need him.
Hey,
We need
there
him.
is that one guy for Northwestern. He might be an offensive lineman that like benched like 50 times or whatever. It was insane. I'd have to look him up again, but not slow white guy, so that's an improvement.
I don't know what your deal is with Northwestern. I think they're good. I
Okay,
really like Northwestern.
The guys we have on Northwestern suck. I have nothing against Northwestern. Just the guys we pick from there are trash.
Fine. Fair enough. I disagree, but fair enough. I do hope we extend Dean Lowry just so we have some content for the show. I think that could be a good thing to do. Maybe we can get you a Dean Lowry jersey, and you can wear it every show. I think
I'll buy it for you, Trevor.
I don't even want to look at it. Like that would be a very nice place to wipe off my shoes when I come in on a muddy spring morning, you know.
Still worth it. Still worth it for the job.
Or we can get you a Joe Fortunado jersey.
They don't even sell those.
This is my note card on him. That's it.
His mom doesn't even have his jersey. That's how bad he is.
Strangely enough, that's the exact same note card that Gutekunst had when he saw his name. Just said Joe Fortunato ? And so just like, hey, yeah, sure.
He went into the hallway, and whichever one hit the ground first from the stairwell, that's who he signs. Fortunato.
Pretty much. Right now, Gutekunst isn't even in Green Bay. He's doing his tour of different pro days and stuff. So I think he's in South Carolina today. I'm just assuming he has a bag of like little slips of papers of names in there. And he's just reaching around and picks it out. Like Joe Fortunato. Okay, bring him in.
It's your lucky day.
Yeah. Do you want to compete for a long snapper job that really wasn't that big of a need? Come on in.
Shout out to the Packers. They're just a good charity case, you know? You don't have a job, you don't deserve a job, we'll give one to you.
Oprah Winfrey.
What if he's like, they're mad that I brought Aaron Jones back. They're happy that they brought Aaron Jones back. They're just not satisfied. Let's just get someone that they know nothing about, so they have nothing to say.
Hey, want to make them satisfied? Just quit. That'll make us.
It has to be a troll because, like, that is the first outside free agent the Packers bring in. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that's what we're trying to do. Like, go fuck yourself, good. Like, I think it's funny, but screw
I think it's hilarious.
It is funny. Like, oh, you want an outside free agent, huh? Let's bring this guy who, for sure, we won't even give him a number.
You just know
his number is 47. Okay, I think that was his number. I thought that's what I thought. 47.
You just know if this dude makes it, they're gonna run like a fake field goal in training camp once, and he's gonna be the guy who runs it in, and that's gonna be the last we hear of him. That would be amazing. We should get him on the podcast, to be honest.
I'll DM him right now.
We probably could. We probably could at this point. Nobody knows anything about him.
Probably. He's a pretty big guy. We could run a fake with him. I think I saw he's like 6'3", 240 or something. Pretty, hey, just run up the middle. I think it could be good. He would be, we could actually figure out some pretty nifty fakes to run. You know, pretend to snap it, have the holder there, flip it to him, have him run out to the side.
Or J.K. Scott throws it to Crosby and wants him to pitch it back. And then we throw it to Fortunato.
But wait until all the D linemen come right by you and then pitch it to Crosby. That's perfect. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was unbelievable.
So I looked up Joe. I don't even know how to say his last name, but the first thing that came up on Twitter was I think the basketball manager of Quinnipiac University.
That's him. That's him.
And the second one was former entertainment industry professional.
No, this guy's definitely a basketball manager. I get strong basketball manager vibes.
All right, I'll DM you.
Trevor, you've been working on your Spanish. Fortunado means lucky in Spanish. Ooh.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, first of all, I probably could have guessed that from the name, having fortune in the name. I don't even know how to respond to that. I am just shook that he didn't even show up in the top 2 on Twitter. Like, what? Oh, man.
Or he's managing a basketball team to make a little bit of money because he haven't snapped a football since 2017.
Dude, I was a basketball manager. I'll like fake snap a ball for 3 practices and I'll take like 10 grand to do it. Like, just hit me up if you want to sign somebody that's not worth it at all.
You want to sign someone not worth it? Call Trevor.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is so funny. Both these guys on Twitter both retweeted the news that the Packers signed a guy named Joe Fortunato.
Oh, really? I mean, if you have that name, you might as well. I'm sure there's plenty of... You got followers from it, probably. We should end on that note. I do hope that we have some kind of news to talk about next week. Hopefully an Aaron Rodgers extension. Hopefully a free agent that did not play for the Packers in 2020. What position? Let's make... Yeah, but he's not even going to get to come to Green Bay. They probably just... You can participate in like Zoom practices, and that's about it. Let's make a prediction of which prediction for a position that the Packers are going to sign first in terms of outside free agents. I'll start. I think we're going to sign a defensive lineman. Luke, what do you think?
I think that we are going to sign a running back.
Makes sense. That would be true. Trevor?
You know what? Because it's the Packers, I'm going to say kicker. Like, I'm actually like, somewhat confident about that. I can see that. You're like, hey, Mason Crosby hurt his hand that one time, that one play ago. You need some competition. Kicker.
Wouldn't be surprising. Janet, what's your pick?
I'm going to say D-line too.
I think it could happen. It's not going to be someone good, but I think we could sign somebody. Not Lawrence Guy, who I still lose sleep about not being on the Packers anymore. That'd be a nice guy to have right now.
So, Trevor, how about if they don't sign a kicker, you have to buy a Dean Lowry jersey?
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, I think, for me to buy a Dean Lowry jersey, it has to be something that I know isn't going to happen. So if the Packers actually make a good decision, that would be more likely. But not happen.
What would it have to be? We should set some sort of stakes here.
Trade for Saquon?
Here's the problem.
Oh, whoever wins this bet of who they're going to sign first. Ooh.
I mean, whoever... Yo, I got a guy. If the Packers sign Todd Gurley, I will buy a Dean Lowry jersey. I mean, come on.
You joke around, but at this point, who knows?
Exactly.
True.
What do you think I said running back?
I would put out a legitimate name, but that would be the one time the Packers would not have their head so far up their ass. So.
Okay. I guess we will stay tuned to next week. If Packers sign Todd Gurley, I will not be on the show. I will say that. I will be so angry.
Luke and I will run this bitch.
That's fine.
I just wanted to ask everyone who's watching, if you're listening, go onto YouTube and watch it. Please vote on whose bum looks better, me or Janet. We're having a competition right now.
Wait, is this an actual thing?
No.
Oh.
He just decided at this point to make it a competition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey,
definitely check that out.
We can put Pumba in Zach's place if they sign Todd Gurley. Just with his angry sitting there.
It would be accurate for sure. Yeah, stay tuned to next week for that because I do have a bad feeling. Something's going to happen. Like I said before, Packers have something brewing, and it almost definitely means disaster. And I can't picture a bigger disaster than that. Well, Kevin,
clip that and make it the intro for next week because it's gonna happen.
Yeah, how can the Packers top the Kevin King signing. This
I
is
make
how.
an even better one.
That's the show. Goodbye.
Peace, guys.